Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a bit of a strange setup today. We're actually sat in my playroom. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I thought I would do a sort of chatty, getting to know me type of video. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Elise. I'm a mum of two. I've got a 3-year-old daughter and I have just had a baby boy. He's 10 weeks old now, sleeping next to me. So if he wakes up and you can hear some noises. Oh, Merry Christmas, by the way. Grab a cup of tea because it might be a bit of a long video. I have done a little Q&A on my Instagram as well. I did say I was going to do like a birth video talking about baby boy's birth, but they're very, very different, the births that I had with both children. I just thought I would just do a little chatty video about my experience being pregnant during a pandemic and how different my pregnancy and my birth was this time round. We'll start just with a couple of questions that I did over on my Instagram, my baby boy that I've just had, and if anybody had any questions for this video. So I will just start with those. So the first one is, were you supported with you having a Vbac after your C-section or encouraged to repeat the C-section? So a Vbac, if you've never heard of it before, is your vaginal birth after section. So I actually had to have an emergency C-section with my daughter Polly. So this time, because I had been previous C-section, they do keep a closer eye on you. You are underneath a consultant, and with it being an emergency, they sort of tend to ask you if you managed to get dilated, what the outcome of it was, how it went, etc. So they monitor you throughout, and you kind of come to a decision at the end of it whether you want to go for a natural birth or you can have a cesarean. I didn't want to have another cesarean. With my cesarean, it was an emergency. It was not very nice. It wasn't a very nice experience, recovery. When people have elected C-sections, I think it must be different because you're going in there with the mind frame of, it's happening now, it's happening like this, we're going to come out with our baby, you've got it set in stone when it's happening, and that's that. And I'm not saying that it's not going to be hard, because I'm sure it is. It's very, very scary. It's an operation at the end of the day, but I just think it's probably a bit more reassuring knowing what's about to happen. Because I ended up sort of having the emergency, and it wasn't a very nice experience, I didn't like the recovery. I wanted to try my best this time to have a natural. So going back to the question, they did, it was down to me. They have to monitor the baby's size, how he was growing. Will I be able to part with him if it is a natural birth? You have the concern and the worry of that your C-section scar can come apart if the baby is too big. That was monitored, and he was actually 2 days early. And from the weight that he was tracking at, he was going to be the same size as my first baby. So they were quite happy for me to go for the Vbac. I ended up going for it, and I did it on my own with no pain relief. And we'll come to that in a moment of how that experience was. But yeah, I think it's an amazing thing when you set yourself that goal, you want to do that, and it ends up going the way that you want it to. Next question, did your waters break and you went into labour quicker with the second? Yes and no to that one. They did break, but sometimes you watch it on soaps and it's really dramatic and it goes everywhere and everybody gets, and the whole floor's soaked. It wasn't like that at all. It was just sort of dripping away. I could just feel a little bit of water, and yes, it was a lot quicker, and they do tell you that as well. So if you're pregnant, it's your first baby and you're watching this video, and hello, congratulations, you are concerned with anything, just no matter how small it is, go and see them in triage, because I didn't ever go in with my first baby. I was in all the time and kept on apologising. They were saying, no, you shouldn't be apologising. With your second baby, you can go from like 1 centimetre to 10 like that. And I didn't even know that. I wasn't aware of that. So yeah, with your second baby, it can be quicker. So if you ever do have any concerns, that's what they're there for. Just go. And they had to try and dram that into me each time.
Sorry about that.
Where was I up to? I switched off. Any problems at all, go and see triage. Is it vital for a good birthing partner? Either way. Now, I had my partner Mike with me both times. This time I was shouting for my mum. So I think if it's your first baby and you're thinking, shall I have my mum and my partner or just my partner? Then I'd say, yeah, go with both. If you're really close to your mum and you know you're nervous, and it's all about being calm in that situation. So I think if your mum is there and it's reassuring and calming that she's there as well as your partner, then go for it, because it upset her knowing afterwards that I were shouting for her. Second time round, I just sort of thought she wasn't there for the first, so I won't have her there for the second. But yeah, good birthing partner. Mike was fantastic. I did end up hitting him in the face with baby boy though. So is it painful having a vaginal birth? I'm absolutely terrified. Please don't be terrified. I'm guessing this is because of previous C-section, so I felt it before. Yes, it is very painful. I'm not going to lie. I found it very, very painful. I had actually been researching hypnobirthing as well, which is all about your breathing, because I remember with my first pregnancy, I just forgot to breathe. Somebody that suffers with anxiety and panic attacks, so I have to remember to breathe and slow my heart rate down all the time. And I think in that situation, you just forget. And I thought, right, I'm going to research it and do lots of research on how to breathe and the best breathing techniques to try and keep you calm in that situation, see if it helped. And it really did help. They were actually quite shocked at how well I was doing with my pain to begin with, because I was actually in sort of like slow labour for like a week, and I was having contractions but not dilating for a good few days, and the contractions felt like he was gonna come out. They were that painful, because I had done the hypnobirthing, and it teaches you a lot about breathing through your nose and breathing out through your nose, and that control that they use a lot in sort of like yoga and things like that to relax and stay calm. It really, really did help. So yeah, it is painful, but if you can have the pain relief, go for it, have the pain relief. And yeah, definitely research the hypnobirthing, because I found that really helpful. Next one, I've got the choice to go for a natural after having the emergency section last time, or have another section. Please help me. So again, back to what I said before, if you want to go for a Vbac, then go for it. They monitor you, they check to make sure it's safe. If you got to the end, if you got to full term and they said, no, you're 5'2" and you know, you're a very small person, it's measuring a big baby, it's not safe, then that kind of, it gets taken away from you, because you know it's down to yours and baby's safety, and then you would have to go for the C-section. But if they said, yeah, we're happy for you to go for it, then it's your choice. If you want to experience that natural birth and try and go for that, 100% do it, because that is exactly the same as what I wanted to do. I tried so hard to get Polly out the first time, and then I had to have the emergency C-section. It kind of gets taken away from you. So then the second time, when you get told you don't have to have a C-section, would you like to go for a natural birth? Something in my heart was saying, yes, I want to try and get this baby out on my own, the way that it should be done, naturally. You know, the way that Mother Nature intended it to happen. It's the most natural, beautiful thing in the world. Just try and go for it. So if you can feel it in your heart that that's what you want to do, then that's what you should do. And get to the end, it's not safe, then safety first. So they're the questions that I got asked over on my Instagram, which I'll either pop on the screen or in the description box. My two pregnancies and births. I'll start with Polly. So I was 25 when I fell pregnant with Polly, 26 when I gave birth to her. Found out we was having a girl. My pregnancy was lovely. I worked on a makeup counter. I'm a makeup artist if you're new to my channel. I do lots of videos on motherhood and hauls and things, so I would love for you to subscribe if you are new. But yeah, so I worked all the way through that pregnancy. I'm really into my fitness as well. So I went to the gym 5 times a week. I kept really healthy with her, ate really healthy. I wasn't sick. I didn't get any symptoms, didn't have any backache, anything. We went on a couple of holidays. I worked right up until 36 weeks. I went swimming right up until I gave birth. 6 days late, I was bouncing on a ball. I'd had a sweep, quite uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie about that either. I had a sweep on her due date and then she didn't come for another 6 days, so I just bounced on my ball just to try and speed things on a little bit. With Polly, I started to have a bit of a bloody show. So I knew that it was sort of happening. I'd gone into hospital and been checked. I've got negative blood, so they had to give me an injection. I'd gone in for an injection and they had said that I could go home, everything was fine. But if they did do this blood test and it came back that I needed something else, I would have to go back. Labour, but it was slow labour. Nobody sort of examined me or anything. At 8 o'clock, told me to go back into hospital because of my negative blood. Then got home by 9 o'clock. I actually went to the toilet and had a bit too much information, but a very black poo, basically. And the midwives tell you that your body can be quite clever and clear itself out as baby is on their way. And then that was it. It was as if someone had pressed a button. She was coming, we rushed to the hospital. I got in, they gave me the gas and air, started pushing. I was 8 centimetres, and yeah, I just sort of remember all the lights coming on and I felt like I was blacking out because of the gas and air. It does make you feel sort of zonked out a bit, not there. And I didn't want no pain relief. I think sometimes with your first baby you think, oh, I can do this. I mean, I've got 6 tattoos, I can stand pain. But no, nobody sort of prepares you for that. Contractions were every minute, and then not even a minute, they were just back to back. And then she pooed inside me, drops, and I had to sort of sign a form to say I was going down to theatre. They gave me a spinal. They told me when I was having contractions, and I had to push when they said. But no, they tried to get her out like with the forceps on her head. Mike said he could hear it sucking, and no, her heart rate had dropped, so they had to do the emergency C-section. So I kind of had both births. I had the contractions, I was dilated, I was trying to push. They tried to get her out, you know, themselves, really. I had to have an emergency C-section. I couldn't breastfeed either. I did try. I think sometimes when you've had a C-section, the recovery is so bad, you know, you're in such pain, and they put these sort of big like boots on your legs to sort of pump the blood back through because of the spinal. You have the socks on to stop your blood from clotting. I'd got the cannula in my hand. I'd got a catheter. I didn't even realise they'd fitted a catheter. I tried to go and shower myself and I couldn't bend. I dropped my shower gel. I had to ring for one of the midwives to come and get it for me. She was really unsettled. They sent Mike home. He wasn't allowed to stay overnight. And yeah, I was in hospital for like 2 days, quite bad, a lot of pain. Like every second they were coming in and checking your blood pressure and giving you painkillers. And yeah, it was very, very difficult. I found it very hard to breastfeed. The first, you know, the first little bit off of me, which they always say is like the liquid gold, so she took that, but I just was that exhausted and in pain. I dreaded her waking up because I just could not. Your boobs get engorged as well, they swell up like rocks. And I don't want to sound as if this is negative, because it's not. This is just my honest story. And I had put so much pressure on myself to breastfeed. Like, I only, you know, it was a last minute thing to get some bottles and a steriliser. I was looking at breast pumps, and you know, I weren't buying no milk or anything like that. I was, no, I'm going to breastfeed. It's just going to come natural, and it didn't. So I did suffer quite badly with like a bit of depression after that. I felt guilty that I couldn't feed her. I couldn't give birth to her. They had to take her out of me, and I couldn't feed her. So the two most natural things in the world, I couldn't do. So being a first time mum, 26, it was, you know, it was hard, but it's just the most amazing thing ever. And I was so lucky. I spent 18 months at home with her. I didn't go back to work. She was like 15, 16 months, and she started going to nursery one day a week. I was at home for the first 2 months of her being at nursery. I just wanted to make sure that she settled in. Makeup. And yeah, it was fantastic. It was an amazing pregnancy, and I got over the feeling so low about not being able to feed her. A fed baby is a healthy baby. And yeah, so that was my experience with my daughter Polly. And then this time, we wanted a 3-year gap between them, and that's what we've got. There is 3 years and 3 months, and my baby boy is called Phineas. And I fell pregnant in January, so just sort of had the most amazing news ever. And then obviously in February, March, we went into the pandemic. Luckily, we'd just been on a family holiday to Tenerife when it all kicked off, and then when we came back, that was it. It was in lockdown. Very, very lonely, because with my first, I was going to classes, I was working still, I saw everybody, and this time it was just a very lonely place. I mean, I feel so lucky that I spent so much time at home with Polly while it was just us two. We enjoyed the summer in the garden, but the pregnancy was just, it was really tiring. I had insomnia, I had backache, I had constipation, I had really bad heartburn. My anxiety was up because of the pandemic, not being able to go out. Do I go out? Do I wear a mask? Is the baby going to get it? I had to go to all of my appointments on my own, all of my scans on my own. Oh, we've got someone awake. Anybody that's watching this that is pregnant, it is hard, especially if it's your first as well. I think I dealt with it pretty well because I'd had the lovely experience of Mike coming with me to my scans, find out we was having a girl. Whereas this time with Phineas, we wanted to know we was having a girl or a boy, because it was the only sort of thing that was keeping us going in the lockdown. But they couldn't for me, he couldn't come in, so I had to have him on speaker on my phone. And yeah, we sort of she said, oh, it's a boy, and I was crying, he was crying, and then we just, we did a gender reveal for Polly, which I have got a video of, and that was such a nice thing to do. It's such a low time for everybody, and because we filmed it, we could send it to family, and then that uplifted their spirits as well. So, and then I just had to spend a lot of time just buying things online for him. I didn't go and get my pram until I was 33 weeks. No, I think I might have been more, because they couldn't believe that I was so big and not bought a pram. I think I might have been 35 weeks. So yeah, it was completely different. And I know a lot of women are struggling to not have the friends and family around them. And I had 2 baby showers with Polly. This time, my friends when we were allowed to go in people's gardens and things, they set a little thing for me, just so they could hand me some gifts and put on a little afternoon tea. It was so lovely. I was crying my eyes out because I'd not seen them for so long. And it just it sort of robs the pregnancy from you a little bit with everything that's happening at the moment. So yeah, and then I sort of started to get a lot of tightening feelings. I was backwards and forwards to triage, checking, his movements and his heart rate, and I was classed as being in slow labour. So I had to be monitored. I was sort of in and out, and I felt like he was coming, and I was 37 weeks and he didn't come, and then I was 38 weeks and he didn't come, and then I got to 39 weeks and he was 2 days early. And I actually went to hospital in the morning. Telling them that he was coming, and they checked me and I was only 3 centimetres. And instead of sort of keeping me, they just sent me home. This was at about 2 o'clock. I got home and was in the most horrific pain, and I knew, and I rang them back and they sort of said, oh no, because you've only just sort of been, you don't need to come back, just take paracetamol, have a bath. I need to come back, I'm coming back now. And they was trying to sort of say, no, please stay at home, you don't need to come back. I think because of COVID, they're struggling so much in hospitals, whether to know to have you there or not, when they're thinking, oh no, please stay at home, it's safer. But I think sometimes you just have to go with your gut. If you know that baby's coming, Yeah, this is 2 o'clock. I got back to 2 o'clock they sent me home. This is 3 o'clock. I got back to the hospital. to the reception, and that's when my waters went. They had to take me upstairs in a wheelchair. Well, Mike did. They was very, very worried that Mike was there with Polly taking me upstairs, but they just didn't know what to do. When it's COVID, like the receptionist, she would normally help, but she was sort of behind the screen with a mask on, sort of saying, oh, there's the wheelchair. So we had to wheel me upstairs, and immediately, as soon as they opened the doors, they took me from him and said, you can't come in until she's 4 centimetres. So we had to wait downstairs for me to ring. And when I got inside and they checked me, I was 8 centimetres, and they were like, right, baby's coming. You need your partner to come upstairs. I was like, you need to come upstairs. Couldn't breathe down the phone. They're passing me the gas and air. And I'm saying, I've asked for pain relief this time. I've asked for pain relief. She says, I'm sorry. She says, the head's coming out. It's too dangerous for baby. So I had no choice then whatsoever. I had to just start pushing. So luckily we had someone to come and collect Polly from the hospital because she was downstairs with Mike. Mike came upstairs and baby's head was on his way out. But yeah, if I hadn't have acted like I did, like I sort of knew and went with my gut, probably would have had him at home. Smiling at me now. He's thinking, who are you talking to? Yeah, and then I just had to just push him out on my own, just with gas and air. So I then got my experience that I wanted, and it was beautiful and amazing, and I wouldn't change it for the world. My midwife was amazing. She was fantastic. But it was very, very painful. I ended up tearing. I had to have some stitches. So I then still did have some recovery afterwards. So even though I didn't have the recovery of a C-section like before, like I could bend this time, but where my stitches were, I'd sort of grazed at the top part as well. So every time I went to the toilet for a wee, it was excruciating and it stung. And I had to sort of lean forward as I went for a wee, and they told me to pour warm water down myself to sort of relieve it and to sort of like dilute it basically, because it was that was stinging each time I went. So yeah, I had really bad recovery this time round as well, and couldn't breastfeed again. I think you either can do it or you can't. And he had a bit more than Polly. He had some in the hospital. He had some at home. I managed to get a little bit off and put it in a bottle, but he was feeding every hour and a half. Yes, you was feeding every hour and a half. Yeah. So really, I do think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise that I probably couldn't do it, because even if I could, like these women, like I hold my hands up to you that can just do it for hours and hours and hours, like the cluster feeding, like. If I'd have been able to do it this time, amazing, it would have been fantastic. But the amount that he's feeding, like, I probably would have ended up, like, giving up anyway. So luckily, I knew the signs from last time of feeling so low and depressed about it, that when I felt like I couldn't do it this time, after that, first few times that I did, I got myself in a good place straight away, because I didn't want to go back there again. Yeah, he was £8.8. Sorry, I didn't say what Polly was. Polly was £7.4. So they thought he was going to be the same sort of weight as Polly. Tracking, I had to sort of go for a few growth scans and they were like, no, he's still tracking the same. So I think if he had been any bigger, I might not have been able to get him out, because they did end up sort of having to like pull my legs sort of back up behind my head and sort of pull him out. And when they laid him on me, they said, oh, he's a big boy. Oh, let's get him weighed. And they said, oh, he's £8.8. And when I heard that, I just couldn't believe it. And then ever since that, he's just done nothing but grow. In weeks now, and he weighs 1 stone 2. So he's a very, very big boy. He's in 3 to 6 month vests already. So all my little outfits that I bought for him, he's literally wore like once or twice. But yeah, it's amazing. I've got a boy and I've got a girl, and it's just such a magical feeling having one of each. What a thing to take away from this year, really. And such, dark times for people that have lost people, and everything that's going on and still going on, and how, we've had all this time apart from each other. He is my light at the end of the tunnel. That is pregnant or is just given birth. Like, please try and enjoy it as much as you can. And we just need to take from it how special it is, how special they are to us, that, You know, there's people sort of dying from this nasty virus everywhere, and we're giving birth. We've got life in our hands. So as it sounds, like they are like our miracles. So yeah, I don't think that we are going to have any more now. We sort of have just said that we'll have 2, that I do have a boy and a girl. It just sort of makes me sort of feel, what more do I want? But I suppose it's never say never. Holly is doing really well with him. So the 3 years, 3-month age gap, I would definitely say is a good way to go. Like, people that have them 2 under 2, amazing. But the fact that she's not in nappies, you know, that she goes to school, she can help me, she loves to help, she loves to take the dirty nappies to the bin and get me a clean one. She likes to just, you know, shake the bottle when the bottle's ready, and she sits and plays with him and talks to him, and his eyes light up when he sees her. So yeah, it's really beautiful to watch them together, and he's giving me lots of smiles now. This is a really nice stage. The first 3 weeks was quite difficult because of him feeding every hour and a half, 2 hours. It would be 12, 2, 4, 6, bang on the dot. A lot of sleep. And he's starting to give me a bit more sleep now, which is good. So I hope you enjoyed this video, something a bit different. Let me know in the comments below if you do like the sort of chatty videos rather than the hauls. I actually haven't done anything beauty-wise for a long time, just probably because of how tired I've been. And with us not going out anywhere, I'm not sort of like putting like a full face of makeup on to sort of do a get ready with me. If that is the reason why you subscribe, because of the beauty, please let me know and I will do some more beauty videos. But if it is the lifestyle videos and the hauls that you like, then yeah, just let me know. Oh, future, and I love to chat to everybody in the comments as well. This video hearing about my birth, and if you're pregnant, please let me know and share all of your experiences as well. Oh, but yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.